We have watched Charlotte go through so much trauma over the years. This poor girl has been used as a pawn by almost every villain that has rolled through town. Just recently, we saw her completely heartbroken, crying and throwing Valentin's mementos into the lake, with only Danny there to comfort her. She felt entirely abandoned because Valentin fled to Geneva. She thought her father chose his freedom over her, and that emotional wound was still so fresh. And then, just when she is at her absolute most vulnerable, feeling unloved and unprotected, Ross Cullum swoops in. Cullum, the WSB director, a man who is supposed to represent justice and global security, decides to target a child. He believes Charlotte is the only missing link that can lead him to Valentin and Rocco. Instead of following standard WSB protocols, instead of doing actual police work, he secretly orders her kidnapping and locks her away in a black site. I felt physically sick watching this unfold. It shatters the illusion of the good guys and shows that the WSB can be just as corrupt, if not more so, than the criminals they hunt. It is a terrifying abuse of power that makes you question everything about the authorities in this fictional universe. I have to judge Ross Cullum's actions right here, right now, because someone has to say it. I understand why he is desperate. I understand that Valentin is a fugitive and that Rocco and Britt are on the run with highly sensitive intelligence that could ruin careers or cost lives. I get the stakes, but I still think that crossing this line makes Cullum completely irredeemable. Maybe I'm being unfair, but when you kidnap a teenage girl and hold her hostage in a secret, off-the-books location just to apply psychological pressure on her father, you are no longer a law enforcement officer. You are a terrorist. Cullum is using Charlotte as bait, and the sheer cruelty of it is staggering. He is operating like a rogue dictator, answering to no one, and it makes my blood boil. He is supposed to be better than Jen Sidwell, who we know is setting traps for Sonny and Laura, or Caesar Faison with his fake theatrics. But right now, Cullum is acting exactly like them. He has lost all moral high ground. The way he justifies his actions in the name of the greater good is exactly how every major villain in Port Charles history has operated, and it is disgusting to watch him hide behind a badge. And then we have Carly Spencer. I keep thinking about how Carly was just cornered in her own home by Cullum and his WSB team. She was terrified, facing severe accusations of hiding Valentin, knowing she could be thrown into a cell alongside Liesl and Jocelyn at Windermere. But the second Charlotte suddenly disappears, Carly's instincts kick in. She instantly suspects Cullum is behind it. I love this about Carly. No matter how much danger she is in, no matter how much she is risking her own freedom, when a child is involved, she goes into full mama bear mode. She does not hesitate for a single second. Despite the WSB officially denying any involvement and threatening anyone who asks questions, Carly does not back down. She marches straight to the PCPD to demand a private investigation. She knows the local cops are outgunned, but she refuses to let Charlotte be a casualty of Cullum's war. This leads to one of the most intense standoffs we have seen in years. The PCPD versus the WSB. Guys, the tension is absolutely palpable. You have local detectives, people who actually care about the citizens of Port Charles, suddenly clashing with heavily armed, arrogant federal agents who think they are above the law. It creates this massive citywide conflict. Everyone in Port Charles is starting to question the extreme methods Cullum is using. Dante Falconeri, Harrison Chase, they are all caught in the middle of this bureaucratic nightmare. Dante is already trying to hide his knowledge of Cullum's connection to Sidwell from Joe Fitzpatrick, and now he has to navigate this explosive situation while trying to save a little girl. They are trying to do police work while the WSB stonewalls them at every turn. It is incredibly frustrating to watch, but it makes for phenomenal edge-of-your-seat television. You can feel the frustration radiating off the screen as the local cops realize they are up against a massive, corrupt machine. Now, we have to talk about Valentin Cassadine, because his arc here is just devastating. I love this storyline because it proves, once and for all, that Valentin's love for Charlotte is his ultimate redeeming quality. The news of her capture finally reaches him. He was supposed to be safe. He had fled to Geneva. Maybe he was going to take a detour to France to sneak into Anna Devein's facility. He had an out. He had finally escaped the dragnet. But the moment he realizes his daughter is in danger, he drops everything. He abandons his escape plan, his freedom, and his entire future. He voluntarily turns himself in to face indefinite imprisonment at Steinmauer, all in the desperate hope of trading his freedom for hers. It is such a powerful, heartbreaking sacrifice. To see a man who has always prided himself on being 10 steps ahead, a man who has manipulated global events, just surrender completely because his child is threatened, it brings tears to my eyes. But something still bothers me. I am so intensely frustrated that Valentin actually trusted a snake like Ross Cullum to keep his word. Valentin is smarter than that, or at least he should be. How could he look at a man who kidnaps children and think, yes, this is someone who will honor a gentleman's agreement? And of course, my frustration was completely justified because Cullum does not keep his word. After Valentin surrenders, Cullum blatantly reneges on the deal. He continues to hold Charlotte captive because he thinks she still has value in tracking down Rocco and Britt. Guys, I screamed at my television. This act of betrayal pushes Cullum past the point of no return. He is no longer hunting criminals. He is exploiting an innocent girl for his own personal vendetta. He is using her as a pawn. The absolute despair I felt in that moment was overwhelming. Valentin is locked up in Steinmauer. Charlotte is still missing in some dark hole, and Cullum is smirking like he just won the lottery. This is where I am completely torn. And this is the fan conflict I am struggling with. Part of me wants to believe that maybe the WSB higher-ups will finally step in, realize Cullum has gone rogue, and stop him. I want to believe there is still some justice left in that organization. Another part of me thinks the entire organization is rotten to the core and no one is coming to save the day through official channels. I honestly can't decide if I want the PCPD to be the heroes who expose the WSB, or if I want someone even darker and more ruthless to step in and give Cullum a taste of his own medicine. It is a genuine internal struggle for me as a fan. You want justice, but a dark part of your soul also wants violent, chaotic revenge against Cullum for what he has done to Charlotte. But then, right when all hope seemed completely lost and the storyline felt too bleak to bear, the show delivered a twist that had me literally jumping out of my seat. Valentin reveals that he had a backup plan all along. Before he surrendered to Steinmauer, he secretly reached out to Z. Yes, the mysterious contact that Jack Brennan suggested he use weeks ago. We have been hearing whispers about Z for a while now, this shadowy figure manipulating events from behind the scenes. And let me tell you, Z does not mess around. While Charlotte is sitting in that terrifying secret facility, an unexpected rescue operation is launched. The operatives working for Z infiltrate Cullum's black site. They completely neutralize the WSB guards with terrifying efficiency. It was like watching a high-octane action movie unfold on a daytime drama. They sweep through the facility, take down the corrupt agents, and pull Charlotte out safely. This daring rescue left both the WSB and the PCPD in absolute shock. Cullum's supposedly impenetrable fortress was breached as if it were nothing. The sheer humiliation for Cullum is delicious. He thought he held all the cards, but he got completely outplayed and embarrassed in his own backyard. But it also raises a massive, terrifying question that we all need to be asking. If Z has the resources, the manpower, and the sheer audacity to casually dismantle a WSB black site without breaking a sweat, who on earth are they dealing with? What kind of monster did Valentin just invite into Port Charles to save his daughter? Are we trading one villain for an even worse one? The biggest mystery is no longer Charlotte's fate. It is the true identity of Z. And guys, all the clues are pointing in one shocking, almost unbelievable direction. Hudson. The new character, played by Troy Lennon Appel. On the surface, Hudson is just this mysterious young business executive who recently arrived in Port Charles. He looks unassuming, maybe a bit arrogant, but nothing that screams international mastermind. Yet, a series of events strongly suggests that his power and operational network far exceed anyone's imagination. If this theory is true, the implications are absolutely staggering. I can't help feeling that this is the biggest power shift we have seen in a decade. The idea that Hudson is Z, the person pulling the strings from the shadows, is mind-blowing. Think about it. You have seasoned veterans, ruthless power players like Ross Cullum, Jen Sidwell, Jack Brennan, and even Sonny Corinthos, all potentially being outmaneuvered by a young guy they probably don't even take seriously. They have no idea they are dancing to his tune. It makes Hudson the most dangerous person in Port Charles right now, hiding in plain sight. Hudson stepping out of the shadows to rescue Charlotte marks the very first time Z has publicly challenged Cullum and the WSB. This isn't just a rescue mission. It is a massive declaration of war. It is Z planting his flag in the ground and saying, I am the one in charge now. This is going to shake the entire foundation of Port Charles. The PCPD, the WSB, the mob, the Cassidines, everyone is going to have to deal with this new reality, and I am here for every single second of it. The dynamic of the show is fundamentally changing, and the fallout is going to be epic. I am still trying to process all of this. The emotional whiplash from seeing Charlotte kidnapped, to Valentin's tragic surrender, to Cullum's disgusting betrayal, and finally to this explosive rescue by a secret mastermind. It is almost too much to handle in one sitting. I am exhausted, but I am also more invested than I have been in a very long time. Am I the only one feeling this way? Guys, what do you think? Do you believe Hudson is actually Z? And what do you think Cullum will do now that he has been utterly humiliated? Let me know in the comments, because I desperately need to talk about this with people who understand.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.